Good to see you in this exercise in transparency and democracy.
Is that what it is?
Good to see you.
Do it again.
No, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
The vision of the F-35 program is to deliver and sustain the most advanced strike fighter aircraft to protect future generations, and it does just that. The F-35 represents the ironclad commitment of the Obama administration and the United States government to preserve Israel's qualitative military edge, ensuring that Israel always has the tools it needs to fight tomorrow's conflicts.
Some say the world should boycott Israel. If you're one of them, you should know this would be a mission impossible in the West. That's because Israeli technology is everywhere. When you get up in the morning, get into your car and drive to work, you probably use Waze to avoid traffic. Waze was developed in Israel. If your eyes stray from the road for a moment, you will promptly be warned by your mobile eye safety system, another Israeli development. Your workday is stressing you out. Your smartwatch will monitor your pulse and remind you to slow things down a little, thanks to an electro-optic sensor developed in Israel. Your laptop most probably runs on a processor developed in Intel, Israel. Do you use the internet next time you visit Facebook and Google or use Microsoft products? Remember, they all use network components developed by Mellanox. From Israel, do you transfer data on memory sticks? That technology was invented in Israel. Those family and friend photos you snap with your mobile camera, the camera was developed in Israel. Enjoy getting help from Google Complete? You guessed right, that too was developed in Israel. And last but not least, next year, Israel Aerospace Industries, from Israel, and Facebook will launch a satellite that will provide internet connection in remote areas where even water is not available.
I think for the world it's something else. The world sees here in Israel a center of innovation that is unique. I think outside the United States, this is the place where you have the other place where you see this cross-fertilization of great minds that are producing new conceptual products that are indeed changing the world for the better.
The company Intel is now opening its biggest plant outside of the United States, and this one is going to be in Israel. The plant is set to produce the world's most advanced computer microprocessor. We all seem to have these in our computers, and it is going to have a huge, huge impact on Israel's economy. Our Mike Tobin is live at the new Intel plant in Kiryat Gat, Israel. I hope I said that correctly. Mike, so what is so great about this new microprocessor that they're making in this facility?
you see this cross-fertilization of great minds that are producing new conceptual products that are indeed changing the world for the better.
They don't want to tell us that the other thing besides cameras that they can put on it is rockets, and that's the main thing that people are buying it for, but you'll never hear an Israeli official admit that. There are like 24 drones in here. I think this is what the future is going to feel like when Skynet takes over and they become self-aware.
We designed them to be trusted with our homes, with our way of life, with our world. But did we design them to be trusted?
The rollout of USR's new generation of robot, the NS-5, was marred by the death of designer Alfred Lanning.
Identify. Murder's a new trick for a robot. Respond.
Don't murder him!
We're gonna miss the good old days.
What good old days?
When people were killed by other people.
My robots don't kill people.
That thing threw somebody out of a window. Is that registering with you?
A robot cannot harm a human being.
You trust them if you want to.
We look to robots for protection. Imagine the loss of all that we've gained because of an irrational paranoia.
Does thinking you're the last sane man on the face of the earth make you crazy? Because if it does, maybe I am.
Maybe you can be looking in the shadows all the time.
You're on the inside. Help me find out what is wrong with these robots.
Dr. Lanning suggested robots might naturally evolve.
I was hoping to see you again, Detective. Think of me as your friend.
Why didn't you just hand the world over on a silver platter?
Maybe we did. We are on the eve of the largest robotic distribution in history. There will be one robot to every 5 humans.
How many robots have ever committed a crime? How many robots in the world?
None.
There is no conspiracy. What this is one mistake.
Oh, hell no. Somehow, I told you so just doesn't quite say it. Get off my car!
I see you remain suspicious of me, Detective.
You know what they say about old dogs?
Not really.
Gotcha.
Unit H-200 is the backbone of the Israeli intelligence community, and it's also a hotbed for Israeli high-tech.
Every once in a while, they come up with a magical solution to an unsolvable problem.
In each vehicle, almost everything is somehow controlled by a computer.
It can definitely be a hacker dream.
Once you take such a complicated machine and you connect it to the internet, you have a serious problem.
Journalist Michael Hastings died in a fiery car crash in Los Angeles this morning.
Now some are asking if there is more to his death than meets the eye.
Police say he was going more than 100 miles an hour.
Okay, what we see is a car going across the screen, 3 explosions at the very end.
Good afternoon. Right, so we've been hearing a lot today about the importance of improving computer security. As Dan just alluded to, though, it's not just traditional computers that we need to worry about. There are many other kinds of systems as well. The slide that's been omitted showed a result of the researchers at UCSD and the University of Washington hacking into the dashboard display of a typical American sedan, making it show that the car was going 140 miles an hour while in park. Drilling down a little bit, modern vehicles consist of between 30 and 100 embedded control units, which are essentially small computers connected via a CAN bus. These cars are required by law to have a diagnostic port, typically located under the steering wheel, that allows mechanics to download diagnostic information and to perform software updates. In a first paper, the researchers from UCSD and the University of Washington showed that if they could touch the CAN bus through that diagnostic port, they could take over all of the functionality of the car that's controlled by software. And in a modern automobile, that's pretty much everything. These attacks involved infecting the computers in the repair shop and then having that infection spread to the car through the diagnostic port, or hacking in through the Bluetooth system, or using the cell phone network to break in through the telematics unit that's normally used to provide roadside assistance. The most ingenious attack, though, used the stereo system in the car. The researchers were able to craft an electronic version of a song that played just fine in your home stereo system or on your personal computer. But when you put that on a CD and played it in the car CD player, it took over total control of your automobile. Yeah, right, pretty scary, huh?
Speaking of technological brilliance, get ready because Israel's Mobileye technology company is just months away from putting the first autonomous cars on the roads. And it may just be part of the first collaborative team to cross first over the finish line in the worldwide race to create the first real driverless car. The Jerusalem-based company is holding the most complex automated drive ever to be publicly demonstrated on an urban highway in Las Vegas this week, with its British partner Delphi Automotive. But even more impressively, Mobileye has partnered with BMW and Intel to introduce the first fleet of 40 autonomous cars by the end of 2017. Global trials of the series, called the BMW 7, will take place in the United States and Europe. Mobileye is supplying its advanced high-performance computer vision processors to the endeavor. The Israeli tech firm is also using its reinforcement learning algorithms to design additional sensors and driving policies to provide models with artificial intelligence that's necessary to navigate complex driving situations.
Trevor Rees-Jones's lawyers wanted the inquiry to consider whether the Ritz and the firm that owned the Mercedes Etoile limousine might have been negligent. The Mercedes Diana used had been stolen 3 months earlier and its electronics ripped out. Had the repairs been properly carried out?
You see this cross-fertilization of great minds that are producing new conceptual products that are indeed changing the world for the better.
Robots attacked my car.
What robots?
Look in the tunnel.
When I just came from that tunnel, then what robots are you talking about?
The goddamn robots, John! You know, somehow, I told you so, just doesn't quite say it.
High-tech companies are looking for real talent. They might be looking at MIT, Harvard, and Stanford, but now there's a new word, 8200. Why 8200?
If you analyze what are the secrets behind the 8200, you can find similarity to the culture in 8200, to the culture in the high-tech. I think the fact that 8200 got priority and we select the best people. Every year we get the priority to make cherry picking and find the best people. The fact that the motivation is very high. It's not only for money. The motivation is not for money, they feel that save the state of Israel. The fact that they are very young. And because there is no option for impossible, you must achieve the goal. So working together in task force, very talented and motivated people, I think this is the secret. I can tell you that I'm traveling all over the world, and a month ago I was in Japan, and they asked me, do you have any connection to 8200? We would like to find people from 8200. So I don't know if it's a global impact, but I think our brand is well known.
When you think cyber, think of Israel. With great talents and great resources. The biggest challenge of all is how do we protect cyberspace? So we have created a special organization to try to mesh together these elements, obviously to afford cyber defense to our critical systems, to the country, but also to see how we can share with others our experience and our talents.
You have many years of experience in intelligence work, etc. Could you please give us some general background about this Unit 8200 in the context of Israeli intelligence?
This unit, it's a part of the Israeli regular military forces. It's a part of IDF. And because of that, they can bring to this unit the best of the best. And this is an advantage that you will not find in some places that it's a civilian salary paid organizations like in the United States of America or UK or other places. We can find that the integration, the cooperation, and the joint ventures between the signal intelligence units of the Mossad, the signal intelligence unit of the Shin Bet, the Israeli security agency, and the military unit is very close. It's on a daily basis. It's a full cooperation. They are exchanging views. They are resolving problems in very short lines.
The New York Times, The Guardian, the Financial Times have all said that Unit 8200 and the Israeli intelligence apparatus was intimately involved in creating the Stuxnet virus, which dismantled thousands of Iranian centrifuges that were inherent and needed to create their atomic bomb. That this virus, this partially Israeli manufactured virus, made the centrifuges destroy themselves. What kind of ingenuity does it take to create something like that?
Well, I'm looking to complicated intelligence operations, not as the outcome of one unit doing. It is a joint venture. There are parts that the Mossad is responsible for. There are parts that the Special Operation Unit is responsible for. And there is a part of the developing division inside the 8200 intelligence unit, but all of them are combined in a group that is working together, and it's a unique phenomenon that they can join together forces and come with a result that you will not find in other places.
When you look at the CIA and the NSA, who have tens of thousands of employees, and you compare it to Unit 8200, the Mossad, and the internal security, which is much smaller, where do you see that smallness having more effectiveness than that big American apparatus?
Yeah, that is right, because it's not just being small, that in that case it's an advantage, but it's the Israeli culture. Informality, direct approach, not so committed to official and procedures and walking by the book. It's a local Israeli culture. And there is another turn in the story, because we are dealing with the globalization era. And one of the main important things is the access to data, access to developments and the things that are done all over the world. You can reach it, you can get to it, and you can learn in an individual base about the most important thing that you need in order to complete your work. And if you are putting together all those advantages, that we are dealing with young people that will choose one by one, and this is the regular obligatory service in the military intelligence branch, and going from that to the Israeli small intelligence community that people can connect and interact and mingle together on a personal base with no orders and no instruction from higher level of management, and the ability to work in the individual base in the Israeli informal culture of work, you can get sometimes to creative ideas and do some things that in other places you need a lot of resources, you need a lot of pressure, you need a lot of effort in order to get to the same result.
I'm one of the founders of Teammate. We build companies. We focus on cyber.
and we try to build, the most innovative, efficient, and effective companies in cybersecurity today.
Why cybersecurity?
We believe we have what I would call an unfair advantage in cybersecurity, based on our background and based on our geography. We have the attacker's perspective. We have unique talent because of where we came from, mostly from 8200. We believe cybersecurity is in such a state right now where there is serious problems. And so it's both an important thing to do, but also obviously a good business opportunity.
What was your dominant role in 8200?
I was in 8200 for about 10 years. When I arrived at 8200, I was the deputy commander, and then in my last years of service, I was the commander of 8200.
As a former commander, how do you see what you call your unfair advantage in the cybersecurity market?
It's not being a former commander. I think it's about the fact that we have access to people that cannot only innovate in the technology and excel in data science and understanding the infrastructure, but can also take it from a different perspective than most companies can take it. We try to get into the attacker's mindset, understand where they come from, what their psychology is, what their vulnerability are, what is their motivation. And we believe that if you can get the attacker's perspective, you can do defense, which is much more efficient and effective at the end of the day.
Why do you think cybersecurity is such a big problem today?
Well, you just have to look at the sheer numbers. I mean, estimates are that 2015 we're at around somewhere short of $500 billion of damage in cybersecurity. Estimations are that by 2020 that number is going to quadruple. So first of all, it's the sheer numbers. The other thing is that a lot of our industries today are getting more digital, more connected. They're all about data and trust. And if you don't have data and trust, you're losing a great part of the economy. And so when you put these two things together and you look at the trajectory of getting more connected, more digital, then obviously cybersecurity becomes paramount.
The state hack is the hack that affected the American election by getting into the Democratic National Committee. What does that show you about vulnerabilities and cyber security?
It's just another step that we should anticipate. As we get more connected, we get more fragile, and it's just the same side of it's two sides of the same coin. We get more connected, so we get more efficient. We get more connected, so we get better. We get more connected, so we can become more innovative. We can do things faster. We can do things more efficient. On the other hand, we get more fragile. That's just the world that we're living in. By the way, unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because right now we're talking about our information. In the future, we're talking about our things. And one layer beyond that, we're talking about our bodies, our health, our transportation, our energy. Everything is interconnected. Everything is based, unfortunately, on a system that was just not designed to do what it's doing right now. Nobody designed the internet, not DARPA and not the universities afterwards, to become the central nervous system of everything that we do in the world. Another thing that we have to do is collaboration between nation states and the industry. All these things are going to have to happen in parallel for us to start closing the gap, because right now, honestly, the attackers are leading.
Why are the attackers leading?
Because it's an asymmetric situation. On the attack side, you have to get it right once. On the defense, you have to get it right all the time. On the attack, you have no bureaucracy, no rules. On the defense, you're confined by a set of rules and regulations. On the attack side, the collaboration is happening better than it is on the defense side. On the attack side, it's becoming extremely lucrative to become a cyber attacker. The chances are that you're taking very slim danger to yourself and to your corporation that's actually doing this cyber crime. Because of cross-border litigation and stuff like that, chances of getting incarcerated are very, very slim. You take all this together, you find yourself in an asymmetric situation, and we cannot win when we're fighting an asymmetric war. We do a brainstorming exercise. We put different ideas on the table and say, what if we did it like this? What if we changed the perspective like that? What would that do to the attackers? What would that do to the infrastructure? What would that do to the problem that we're trying to solve? We come up with several ideas. That's our ideation phase. We have a round table where we bring partners, investors, advisors, researchers, ex-attackers, all sitting together and trying to understand what would work. For example, we work with Cisco and with Microsoft and with AT&T. At the end of this process, we choose one idea and we go and we validate it. But we validate it in real-life environments. Again, we go to our investors, we put it in their networks. We go to our partners, we try it in their networks. We try to see if that actually works efficiently.
If you've got 10 machines in an electric plant talking to each other, they seem to talk in a very predictable way, these 10 machines. And therefore, if you see something exceptional, it could be some way of trying to sabotage the machines, and you've created this ability to see it. Is that what you're basically doing?
We have the ability to look at the network, at every device in the network, understand what it is, what make it is, what firmware it is, where it was made, when it was made, who is it talking to, who it should be talking to, why it's doing it, create a baseline of understanding everything that's happening on this network, and now when we see anything anomalous on this network, we can alert it. The beauty of it is that now we can provide not only security, but safety. Not only safety, but efficiency. Because once you have the visibility, you can translate that into different aspects of creating a more reliable network.
When you think cyber, think of Israel. With great talents and great resources. The biggest challenge of all is how do we protect cyberspace? So we have created a special organization to try to mesh together these elements, obviously to afford cyber defense to our critical systems, to the country, but also to see how we can share with others our experience and our talents.
Here in Israel, we're about 2,200 people, 2/3 of which are involved in R&D activities. Our Haifa Research Lab is one of the premier research labs in the world, second largest, in fact, in the IBM company. A whole series of software companies have become part of our organization, focused on mobile security, collaboration, and big data. And so Israel is an important part of our overall technology structure within the IBM company. And I'm very pleased that being here today, I have the opportunity to make an announcement. IBM is going to be establishing a center of excellence with Ben-Gurion University here in Israel. We know that Ben-Gurion University has a big focus on all the technologies that surround this whole area of cybersecurity.
באר שבע עיר עשירה, אמנם לא מצאנו בה לא גז, לא נפט ולא זהב, אבל היא עשירה במוחות הצעירים, האיכותיים, אלה שיש להם חזון בלתי צפוי. ומה שקורה היום בבאר שבע זה הפיכתה למרכז ידע בינלאומי. באר שבע היא היום חממה למשוגעים. האוניברסיטה, העיר, כולם ביחד. אני תמיד נוהג לצטט את המחזה האירי ג'ורג' ברנרד שואו שאמר פעם, אנחנו זקוקים ליותר משוגעים, כי תראו לאן השפויים הביאו אותנו.
Israel as a country was typically known as a startup nation. And we in Symantec believe that this is evolving into what is called a cyber nation.
Israel is, the let's say, innovation hub, specifically in the area of cyber tech, probably next to Silicon Valley. It's quite a, let's say, innovative culture here, vibrant atmosphere.
Well, this has been one of many visits here, and I'm very, very impressed, both with the culture, with the innovation, and quite frankly, the openness to business and the development of advanced technologies, especially in the high-tech engineering arenas. And we see this as an area where we can really begin to develop a lot of our capabilities that we are doing internationally.
Nowhere in the world do you have such a physical location that really aggregates together the intellect together with an open society. I think there are so many mixed views on the Israeli military society, but nowhere in the world is it appreciated how open the platform is for then the commercial world to build phenomenal startups.
When a
certain malware is detected, a new security measure is generated, and then the hacker, all they need to do, the hackers make a little modifications and voila, a new threat is born and the security measure is circumvented. That is how we got the idea. That is basically their weakest link. And the weakest link is that they can't write an attack, a whole kill chain from scratch. They have to recycle something. And so we thought, this is what we'll do. We'll take the malware attack and we'll predict all its variations and modifications, any modification that a hacker can possibly dream of, and then we'll predict it and prevent it.
Cyberark is today the largest privately held Israeli company in the information security area. We are focusing on protecting organizations on their critical assets and the most sensitive information. All the products of Cyberark are developed in Israel. Today we have more than 1,400 global enterprise customers, and we are talking about the largest customers. 17 out of the top 20 banks are a customer of Cyberark.
Everyone's doing brilliant things with SaaS. SaaS makes people's jobs easier, except yours.
So many companies today use SaaS, software as a service. For example, they use Google Apps for mail, or they use Office 365 to manage their documents. So a lot of the sensitive information of these organizations is in the cloud. That means employees can access the information from anywhere to do their jobs. We learn the user behavior and we find anomalies in these behaviors. Okay, so if a user is connected from a location he's not usually at, okay, or if a user downloads a large amount of information, unusually large amount, we can catch that, we can block that.
Smaller merchants are dealing with problems with fraud users. We all know the story about the Saudi hacker. Thousands of cards were stolen. Basically, our system relies on military intelligence methodologies to detect fraud at a higher rate than the norm. Our detection rates are so high that we can guarantee protection against any illicit charges.
Package does behavioral biometric authentication. Basically what we do is we track how you interact with mobile and web apps, learn your behavior and create a biometric profile like a fingerprint or a signature.
The problems that you had in solving the cyber challenges a generation ago are long and gone. You had a wall, a firewall. Today you need agents to intercept agents, and Israel has the know-how, the capabilities, the background of the high-tech industry, the fact that we have more multinationals in Israel than any other country but the Silicon Valley, governments, parliaments, banking industries, retail industries. They need a standard to protect those individuals that they serve.
This agreement gives us an opportunity to partner with Israel on the journey to Mars, gives us an opportunity to open opportunities to kids from Israel that many of them never dreamed about before. We can't do the things that we want to do. We can't go the places that we want to go without developing new technologies and innovative ways of doing it. And so I think it's critically important that we are able now to join hands with our partners here in Israel in this endeavor. And what we are about when we talk about going to Mars is exactly that. We say that technology drives exploration. People have come here from all over the world, and a large portion of the people who are here are kids. They're students, and they have come here to be inspired.
We're actually high school students that learn space science, and we love it, and I hope we can continue with it in the future. Our mission is to build this satellite that is a research satellite.
We use it to measure the plasma cloud's density in this layer of the thermosphere.
Israel is a unique country. We're a very small country with a very developed space capability. We are very strong in Earth observation satellites with extremely high resolution and very good maneuverability. In fact, our latest satellite, Amos 6, which will be launched soon, is going to be used by Facebook to deliver internet access to people in Africa. So it's really a global civil business which is booming right now.
La coopération avec Israël est pour nous très importante parce que le projet Vénus est un projet hyperspectral, donc un satellite donc avec une caméra qui fait de l'imagerie terrestre et qui permet d'étudier par l'analyse spectrale la croissance des végétaux et donc la qualité des végétaux sur Terre. Donc c'est très important pour la population terrestre de pouvoir suivre l'évolution, les problèmes de sécheresse notamment, des végétaux, la qualité des végétaux, des cultures, donc l'agriculture. Il y a beaucoup de recherches liées à ça.
Israel has a high technology, the state-of-the-art technology, and I mean about the aerospace. We are in the same boat because we are aiming at space as a, an international partner. We learn many things from you.
In my personal view of that is developed very fast. If we have chance, we would like to develop in your countries.
And this conference is a great way of getting everybody together, and we're very proud to be hosting it this year. We've got a couple of thousand people here. Most of the heads of the space agencies from all around the world, in fact I think almost all of them are here.
Ce regroupement mondial de toute l'industrie spatiale mondiale est très important pour tout le monde. Le CNES, nous on a décidé d'être là, d'être présent et par notre présence même de montrer toute l'importance de cette réunion ici et de la coopération qu'on a avec Israël et de soutenir l'initiative d'Israël d'organiser ce colloque ici à Jérusalem. Et on est très très heureux d'être ici en ce moment.
Israel, as one of the smallest countries on Earth, is barely visible from space. And yet, the Israeli Space Agency's innovative and groundbreaking technologies have led the way to outstanding achievements in the field of space exploration. Israel is among the few countries in the world which develop, build, launch, and operate satellites in space. Geographical and safety constraints have forced Israel to launch satellites in an opposed trajectory to what is customary in the world, which drove the scientific community in Israel to be creative and excel in order to achieve high required performance for small satellites. The Israeli space industry has recorded many achievements, such as the development of communication and Earth observation capabilities, high-resolution electro-optical satellites, and advanced synthetic aperture radars, which can also be used at night and under all weather conditions. The Venus satellite, a joint effort with the French Space Agency, is a microsatellite with electric propulsion, offering superspectral remote sensing capabilities of the Earth, utilizing 12 different spectral bands, and thereby enabling environmental monitoring as well as assisting in precision agriculture. The next generation of satellites will offer hyperspectral remote sensing, using 240 different spectral bands, covering the full spectrum from visible light all the way up to 2.4 microns. This will allow for molecular level monitoring of vegetation, environmental pollutants in bodies of water and on land, and the monitoring of quarried substances. The Technion, Israel's Institute of Technology, is currently working on the first of its kind experiment, in which it intends to design, launch, and prove flight capability of three-formation nanosatellites. This nanosatellite will enable, among other things, the locating and identifying of people at risk. Israel's ground mobile broadband services, based on satellite communication systems, have already saved many lives around the world during natural disasters and will be visually enhanced as part of a collaboration with the UN Spider Initiative. Israeli space technology and contributions can even be found as far as Mars, as part of the Curiosity project, where a unique sensor cooling system developed in Israel has been successfully integrated. Israel believes its most important resource is its human resource. As part of the startup nation, Israeli children grow up in a highly creative environment. From an early age, they're encouraged to dream and are supported in developing all the necessary intellectual tools to make those dreams come true, not just through classroom work, but through hands-on experiences. Many children dream of becoming astronauts, like Ilan Ramon, an Israeli astronaut on board the Columbia Space Shuttle. Some young entrepreneurs are part of the core team of Space IL that's currently competing for Google's Lunar X Prize. University graduation percentage rates in Israel are among the highest in the world. Israeli academic institutes continue to push the envelope and develop futuristic technologies such as quantum computing, developments which will lead to significant scientific breakthroughs in the decades to come. 8 Nobel Prizes were won by Israeli scientists thus far. As a small country, Israel is gearing its space industry towards large-scale collaborations. Many of Israel's technological advancements are meant to integrate with multinational projects for various organizations and communities. The Israeli Space Agency and industry will continue to welcome international collaborations that will help work towards a prosperous future for humankind. Towards an era with no limits, where micro turns to macro and nano to astro.